Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. She-Hulk star Mark Ruffalo defends the Marvel Cinematic Universe by critiquing Star Wars, but in the most moronic way you've probably ever seen possible. And I guess this goes to show the sort of inherent nonsense that some of these actors spew out of their mouths. And you know, Mark Ruffalo's not the smartest tool around. He's really just not that intelligent, and this is indicative of that massively, because in his efforts to raise Marvel up, he's basically saying that every Marvel movie is completely different. They're just brand new each and every single time. They don't follow any format. No, God no. And Star Wars, they're all the bloody same. Right, okay. Fuck me. Someone take Mark Ruffalo to a movie theatre and watch some of the films that he's in. Because, good God, Marvel films are very, very similar. They follow a very similar first, second and third act beat. Their villains are paper thin. Very, very, very much, samely. I think the only villain which, had any sort of staying power was, of course, Thanos. And then even then it was sort of dispatched relatively quickly in what was the culmination of the 10 years. And then, resulted in a lot of people being done. But, I mean, Marvel is world-renowned for having a formulaic approach to filmmaking. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that every Star Wars is different. Not at all. In fact, I think a lot of the Star Wars films are the same, but Marvel is exactly the same. Marvel, I think, is even worse. Much, much worse. Marvel takes no risks whatsoever. The biggest risk they took was, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is by far the most different Marvel Cinematic Universe film, and is warranted the success and praise that it gets. Now, I think Star Wars tried to do something different with some of the series that they've been putting out, and then of course Rogue One. I think Rogue One was one of those films that I like. I really like Rogue One personally, and I think that was something different actually, by comparison to the other movies. But yeah, Mark Ruffalo, what a dumbass. What an absolute dumbass. So let's take a look at his comments. Mark Ruffalo joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2012 when he starred in The Avengers as Bruce Banner, and he's been playing the Hulk ever since. Again, paper-thin character. Absolutely paper-thin. And quite disappointing, actually, what Marvel have done with the Hulk, because the Hulk's a fantastic character, and power is immeasurable. There's literally a storyline where he is the only entity left at the end of time, because the Hulk won't let Bruce Banner die. He just won't die. But they don't explore any of that stuff. None of it at all. They're just like, he's Professor Hulk now, whatever. We just nerfed him. Who cares? Well, everyone that likes the Hulk cares. Thanks very much. So next up for the actor is Disney Plus' She-Hulk Attorney at Law. And it's fair to say he's now a Marvel Studios veteran. He is, yes. But even in Marvel Studios, She-Hulk Attorney at Law, we're going to be seeing, again, a very nerfed Hulk. A Hulk which is shown up each and every single point by Jennifer Walters, his cousin. And that's disappointing as well, because again, this is exactly paint-by-numbers Marvel at this point in time. All male characters subjugate themselves to the females to raise them up, and that's not creating a strong female character. That's not strong female. A strong female character stands on their own. So, yeah, very disappointing. Now, it's no wonder that he's quick to defend the MCU when it comes under fire, and the actor did that during a recent interview with Metro. However, he did so mildly, admittedly, criticising the Star Wars franchise. Again, just such nonsense. Now, I'm not defending the Star Wars. I'm more saying, what an idiot, because what he's saying applies to the MCU. It's not something I worry about, Ruffalo initially said when asked about the rapidly expanding MCU. I understand that those things run their course, and then something else comes along. Now, I actually think the comment itself from Metro is telling of what I think a lot of people are feeling, and also what was recently revealed in a study of Americans, adults, is that they are feeling a superhero fatigue. And that's indicative of why Metro even bothered to ask him this, because I think people are cottoning on to that fact now. He'd go on to praise the studio for allowing filmmakers to put their spin on the comic books with their own style and their likeness. Again, that's bollocks. That's absolute bollocks. The only filmmakers that were really allowed to do that, Jon Favreau with Iron Man. Iron Man's a very particular movie. I think has its own particular style. And then from there onwards, they were all pretty much the same until Guardians of the Galaxy. So again, that's nonsense. Does Mark Ruffalo even watch these films? To reinforce the point he was making, Ruffalo used Star Wars as an example of a franchise that doesn't necessarily change as much as the MCU. For example, Moon Knight, Thor Love and Thunder, Ms. Marvel are all worlds apart. No, they're not. So just to put that into perspective, right? Moon Knight, slapstick humour. Thor Love and Thunder, slapstick humour. Ms. Marvel, slapstick humour. Moon Knight, I thought it was relatively alright for what it was. A bit disappointing come the end, quite frankly. Could have been much better. But again, Moon Knight, Thor, Ms. Marvel, paper-thin villains, dispatched by the end. All of them run exactly the same thing. First, second and third act all the same. Even if you were to compile Moon Knight into a movie-based format in terms of its time, you know, it's a linear sort of storytelling, and you were to break it down, that would have the same first, second and third act. If you watch a Star Wars, if you watch a Star Wars, for fuck's sake. If you watch a Star Wars movie, you're pretty much going to get the same version of Star Wars each time. No, you're not. You will pretty much get the same thing with Marvel, though, each and every time. No, I really disagree with Star Wars being each and every... Like, it's not all the same. Like, there are some differences between them. Again, if you watch the original trilogy and then you watch the prequels, they're worlds apart. They are genuinely worlds apart. I mean, those are 6 movies that are very different. It might have a little bit of humour. It might have a little bit of different animation. But you're always really in that same kind of world. That's because it's the Star Wars universe, dipshit. But with Marvel, you can have a whole different feeling, even within the Marvel universe. You're still in the Marvel universe. And you can get a different kind of feeling with each Star Wars movie. Do you see what I mean? What absolute nonsense this is. Now, this is interesting. They say some Star Wars fans might not appreciate the actor's observations, but he's not wrong. So there's a very specific example that needs to be taken with that galaxy far away in order to maintain a certain feel to the franchise. And when someone veers from that, they get fired. Phil Lord, Chris Miller. The MCU, however, is a little more varied. No, it's not. Phil Lord and Chris Miller were fired because they were improvising too much. Now, again, Star Wars story Solo... Whatever you think of it, that's an isolated incident with respect to tonal change. But between each movie, there is a definitive tonal change in Star Wars. Most Marvel movies have exactly the same tone, exactly the same narrative beats, exactly the same paper villains. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear it. This will be conflicting, I'm sure. Again, I'm not sitting here to defend Star Wars. Most of the comments made about Star Wars apply to the MCU is more the point I'm making. But cheers, guys. Take care. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out my Teespring store. Supporting the channel via this way does go a long way. But also, not only that, you do get to wear some awesome merch. These are one-of-a-kind designs designed for me by my graphic designer. We, of course, have our Clown World line, which is in mugs, hoodies, t-shirts. We've got Space Jeebus. And then for something a little bit different, we of course have right down at the bottom right here, we have our Pulsar GTIR. Also, ladies and gentlemen, consider checking out and supporting my second channel, which is Car Nonsense. This is a vlog and car channel. You can find links to this in the description box along with my Teespring. Please do consider supporting.